So yeah, guys, I want to keep this as short as possible so I don't faint. But basically, we're all here to kind of talk about virtual reality. It's a big, new, hot topic. I don't know that I got my information over to Megan and the team, so you probably don't even know what you're here to listen to. But basically, virtual reality for us at 900 Pounds is a tool to help us tell stories and help us, help our clients reach their business objectives just in a different way. And so I felt like it was a really great topic, being the theme of fantasy. I don't think there's anything more fantastical right now than putting on a VR headset. So a little bit about us, as you heard from Megan, we're 900 Pounds of Creative. We've got a fire-breathing gorilla upstairs and a fireman's pole, and it's a really odd space. But it's super creative, and I can't thank you guys enough for coming out. It means a lot that we were even invited by Todd and the crew, so appreciate all dealing with the ambulances and the wind and everything else. So yeah, you're probably asking, why are you here? What's the topic going to cover? And basically, from my perspective, I just kind of wanted to share my story. I'm a VR expert now, I guess, and I didn't always start off that way. And then I think there's some things that VR is getting a lot of news about, but there's a lot of things that people don't know about it yet. And I think my goal is basically just to share some stories, share some case studies, and hopefully inspire you guys, and basically kind of open your mind a little bit, so to speak. So yeah, VR, basically, just to give you a quick rundown, is this new tool that has been around for a long time, and to better explain it, I found a video so I don't have to talk. So again, we don't have enough time to cover all the players. There's software and hardware, and there's people making gloves and headsets. It's insane. So I'm just going to keep this real high level. Let's see. We're missing a video. All right, we're going to move on. So yeah, a little bit about me. I'm not sure this is working. So yeah, like Megan said, I was a kid. I think I was 6 to date myself when Toy Story came out. And Toy Story blew my mind. I remember being totally immersed in movies at the time and cartoons, and I was the kid that was 2 inches from the screen. And the idea finally dawned on me when Toy Story came out that somebody actually made that. Like my parents go to work, and I don't even know really what they did at the time, but it wasn't making Toy Story, which was insane. That was somebody's job. So I was like, all right, well, cool, done. That's what I'll be doing. And so yeah, I went to school and got an animation degree. I think there's a lot of video people in the crowd, creative directors, graphic designers, et cetera, et cetera. And I think all of those are applicable to VR in one way or another. So basically landed in 900 Pounds office, and as an intern, unpaid, they asked me to research technology, and VR was one of the first things that I found. And then ipso facto expert now. So there you are. So here's the video I lost earlier.
You may have heard that virtual reality is the next big thing, but what exactly is it and how does it work? Wearing a virtual reality headset is like actually stepping into another world where your body stays exactly where it is. Using high-tech computer graphics and sensors, the headset is able to detect how you move your head and display video accordingly, effectively tricking your brain. And 3D audio can also give an added sense of immersion. Recent advancements in computer technology, screens, and virtual reality itself have made more immersive experiences possible. Gaming is an obvious use for these devices, but virtual reality can be used for communication, military training, even psychological therapy. Whatever virtual reality is used for, the future of this technology depends on the creators making new and unique content for this new virtual world.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys got to try out some of the VR inside, and that wasn't all mumbo jumbo, because it really is putting you in another world. It's a pretty incredible feeling if you haven't tried it yet. But VR wasn't always as cool as it is today. It started off all the way back in the 50s with the Sensorama and various other technologies, Power Glove. There was a lot of technology that didn't work, and then all of a sudden, Palmer Luckey came around. This kid at 18 who pieced together the first modern day Oculus Rift prototype with stuff from eBay and garage sales. So a lot smarter than I am. So present VR, that kind of brings us to where we're at now. Now we have extremely high tech sensors and headsets. The content is amazing. It's the stuff that you see in Hollywood movies, but it's all around you. Which again is a pretty incredible sensation. And so just a little bit about the future of VR and really AR in general. Everybody has different opinions, and it can get kind of bleak, and if you think that people are going to get too connected or disconnected and live in a total virtual world, I'm not going to argue against that, because it could happen. But I think the power is kind of in our hands as creatives, dictating where the future of VR goes. Personally, I think that hardware is going to go away. I think the headsets are going to be irrelevant. You'll probably just walk into a space in your house, and then boom, there's you're on the surface of Mars, kind of like Star Trek in a holodeck. And then too, that maybe there's contact lenses in the future. Hardware and chips and screens are all getting smaller and smaller and smaller. There's a lot of evidence to suggest that contact lenses are kind of the next screen, so to speak. And then there's going to be a lot of peripherals. So those are basically just any accessory used in VR. So gloves or infrared cameras, all kinds of things, so that your whole body is in VR with you. So those are going to continue to advance as well. And this is just kind of visuals on the whole room being taken over. You guys maybe remember the Gerard Butler movie Gamer, where the kid was in his room and he was controlling Gerard basically just with his body. It's pretty crazy. And then here's kind of a glimpse into what Facebook thinks is the future of VR. Facebook bought Oculus for $2 billion, so that Palmer Luckey guy got a nice check. But they picture VR being completely social, which is an interesting social new wave to happen. You would be sitting there, and Todd and I would be in a room together, but on opposite sides of the world, potentially. So it's pretty incredible what they think is going to happen. And then currently, right now VR is a lot of games, and that's cool. That's awesome. I'm a huge gamer, and that's fantastic. But I wanted to kind of talk about some other aspects and some other use cases of VR that's happening right now and in the future. So this is one of my favorite case studies of all time, and these aren't just my opinions. The 900 Pounds team all has seen these 100 times and helped me put this all together, but I'll shut up. This is one of the best VR cases you can think of.
Science Central.
I was on fire. I couldn't see to unbuckle my seatbelt or open the door. I believe my guardian angel just took me out of the truck.
First Lieutenant Samuel Brown survived an attack on his Humvee in southern Afghanistan, but he would then have to endure rounds of surgery, skin grafts, and painful skin stretching.
This is a battle that's going to take years to get back to being how it was prior to this.
But while Brown's body fights that battle, virtual reality technology lets his brain enjoy hurling snowballs to the music of Paul Simon. University of Washington researchers Hunter Hoffman and David Patterson designed the virtual reality game Snow World to occupy burn patients' minds during painful wound cleaning or physical therapy.
Snow World's the opposite of of fire, snowy, cold. It's supposed to cancel out and help distract them from remembering their original injury.
Their previous research showed that not only do patients report less pain in Snow World, MRI scans show it reduces the brain's pain signals. Brown's doctors see real improvement.
What we saw was marked improvement in the range of motion that we were able to achieve.
Thanks, Dr. Brown. So he continues to go on and say that basically in their study they found that that soldier was able to tolerate 70% more range of movement while wearing the headset than without, because his mind was completely distracted. And that was in 2008. So yeah, it's come a long ways from there. And that's kind of the therapy aspect of it. That's one use case. It's also being used heavily for PTSD victims, phantom limb, recent amputees. Any kind of phobia is also being heavily used. Arachnophobia. How great is it to put on a headset and see a spider in the room that's digital without the anxiety and fear of actually getting bit by that real life spider. So that another really great case study. There's napkins in the back if you tear up, but basically this is St. Jude's and Expedia, the travel company. They put this together, and this was a marketing effort. And this is one of the big. If you take anything away, take this away.
I love horses. They like apples and carrots and tomatoes, maybe.
A lot of the children that are at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital are there for months or maybe even years, and they're not able to go out and see different parts of the world. This experience allows me to bring Kiara's dream to her from thousands of miles away. Hopefully, she'll feel as if she's here in Argentina and that she is on this adventure with these wild horses with me. Anything I can do to help make today better for her is my honor to do. Hi, Kiara. I'm Sarah. Are you ready to go see some wild horses?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Hey, Hannah. Are you ready to start this adventure?
Hey, Sagar. You ready to find some fossils?
Hi, Isaiah. How are you?
Wow. Look, a monkey.
Which one's your favorite?
That one. What's that?
This is a dinosaur carnivore.
That's a raptor, I think. Wow. High five. Yeah.
Good job.
Seeing the world really is a powerful thing, and we believe that everyone should have the chance to experience it.
So yeah, that's a temporary marketing initiative. But why? Why is that temporary? I think that probably touched on a lot of heartstrings out there. A lot of friends and family been in the hospital and extended stays. Why doesn't every hospital have a room like that? I mean, why is there not an escape for kids that are trapped there for so long? So that's a really touching piece for us, and that even though there's not a headset involved, that's still a virtual world. You're still transporting these kids that can't leave. Captain Kirk could walk in his holodeck, but these kids, they don't have that. So just again another use case for VR and something other than games that that I think that we should really think about. Getting into the consumer side, if there's entrepreneurial spirits out there, VR has opened a lot of new possibilities. This is a real estate example, but this same concept of visualizing a space where you can't be has a lot of real business applications.
Right now, VR is used for luxury properties that haven't been completed yet. It's also made for foreign buyers who don't necessarily want to fly in from Dubai or Hong Kong to check out a new investment. To see how this works, we looked at 34 Prince Street, a building in Manhattan with apartments starting at $7 million. It's still under construction, but ready to be sold to the highest bidder.
Yeah, so not my apartment. But, it's like everything else, right? The technology is expensive to make, it's expensive to implement right now, but not for long. I mean, that application is for, rich overseas investors that want to buy a property, but this could be used for so many other applications to transport your client somewhere or to visualize a space they can't get to. I don't want to say the sky's the limit because you can get in the sky in VR, so it's like, that's redundant. There's real practical applications too, like education. I for one, really think our education system could use a huge reform. And your field trips of yesteryear, you would have approval sheets your parents had to sign. You had to all load up on the bus, go to a museum, take a boring tour. But now with VR, you can bring the museum to the kids. I don't know about you guys, but in science class, I studied mealworms. Like, I don't even know what those are. They're like bugs. That's cool, I guess. But what about the surface of Mars? Or, going underwater and seeing, an actual ecosystem around you? I mean, that's the kind of what-if statements that hopefully, you kind of start walking away with. But how impactful for kids? I mean, you talk about education is losing, attention spans. Kids these days, it's like the attention span of a goldfish. Stealing from Steve Dietz's presentations there, it's like 2 seconds for kids these days. So I just really think virtual reality and transporting kids to a space they can't get to, particular historical events. I mean, what if we popped the camera on top of the Berlin Wall when it came down? I mean, how impactful would that be versus reading about it and seeing a picture of it? Hasselhoff on top. It's a little different if you're actually there with them. So then travel. Here's another, actual economic use. This is an example from Marriott where they have this traveling exhibit that they filmed around the world and can put you in. But traveling, is an expensive endeavor. Pop on a headset and you can go wherever you want. And again, maybe this makes its way into our home and our theater rooms in the future essentially have a Netflix of locations around the world to choose from. So it's kind of interesting there. And then there's obviously a serious implication for entertainment. That's a huge, that's basically where the majority of the industry is focused right now. The Golden State Warriors were the first team to stream one of their games, and now the NBA is streaming 25 games this year in VR completely. So it's pretty crazy. Now there's roller coasters that have VR on them, if that wasn't sickness-inducing enough. And there's actual VR arcades and amusement parks popping up now. The Void is a real place where you can walk with your friends, put on a headset, and be in a multiplayer scenario. I mean, you're playing Halo in real life. So, what? It's crazy. But this is it's kind of come down a little bit. This is a guy at Taco Bell with a headset on. It's like, maybe let's pivot a little bit and not let that happen. I don't know. But so there's positives and negatives for sure. But that's. So, you're probably asking, like, what does this mean to me? Like, that's a lot of cool stuff. This guy's, talking a lot. But, I think this room has a lot of creative firepower in it, right? We've got everybody, graphic designers and creative directors, videographers. I started off in animation. I wanted to make Pixar. I had no idea I'd be doing VR right now. And there's so many avenues. There's not a VR background. Like, nobody's teaching that in schools these days. You pick it up, you learn. For example, there's a plugin for After Effects. Most of you guys are familiar with that, I'm sure, that allows you to create in 3D now, in 360. It's called Metal. Feel free to check it out. It's a fairly cheap plugin. And so it's just, it's interesting. I think it's going to affect a lot of things in your work in the future, or maybe in your office even. The way you create is going to be completely different. Creating in a digital space versus on paper, or in an environment that's completely 360, how you share and collaborate. Remember the Facebook example of being in a digital space, architects, walking their clients through a rendering. There's a lot of implications there. So, and just kind of the parting ways, this is a Google Tilt Brush. This is an application that's out right now that you could do inside our studio if you wanted. And I think it's insane from somebody that grew up drawing to draw in 3D, to wave, and I mean it's absolutely nuts. And it reminds me of old school. It reminds me of Mickey Mouse and the stuff I would see him doing, and Donald Duck, drawing in midair. So, I just kind of wanted to leave you with the parting thought that hopefully some of this is a little bit inspiring and kind of made you think a little differently. And when you have your donut-induced sugar crash later, maybe you fantasize about something a little different. So, yeah, that's pretty much the talk. Yeah.